So what I'm going to do is season my roasting chicken, and I like to use lemon. So we're going to chop up a lemon, and what we do with this lemon is we fill the cavity of the chicken with the lemon, and it really gets aromatic and it smells really good, and it makes the chicken taste really good, especially if you are a leg man or woman. The legs will taste fantastic. So I take and I quarter these things up. And I peel off the sticker and take your hands and you just shove them on in. Now this gets kind of messy because you're touching all this raw meat, and chicken's very dirty meat, as you all know. So you want to just keep washing your hands while you're working with chicken. You never want to touch anything else that you're working with it, because you can get really sick. So you shove that on in there real good. Okay, so we stuff the lemon inside the chicken, and we also have our oven preheating. You want to preheat your oven to 350, 375, depending on, well, how well you cook. So if it's a really good oven, then, you know, about 350, but 375 for maybe some of the older ones. You're going to take some butter, and I like to put some butter by the wing, and you just keep putting some butter on there. Get the butter by the wings. And you want to take some butter to the legs. You want to get the legs really goopy. Great job for a little kid, but make sure that they wash their hands really good, because it does get messy. Don't let them lick off the butter either. Then you do that. We have some parsley flakes. We're going to put some parsley all over the top of that chicken. Get them real good with that parsley. Make them look real pretty. And then you got some pepper. And you can add as much pepper as you want. You know, it's just to your tasting. I like a lot of pepper. I like it a little bit spicy. And then you got some garlic powder. You can use fresh cloves or you can use powder. I just use powder and I sprinkle it all over the top of the bird, as so. And then you take the Reynolds wrap foil, and see how I have it lined up. If you notice, I put half the foil right here and then fold it over. You're going to fold it over your bird, tuck him in like he's going to bed, and you're going to put him in the oven. And that's where he's going to sit for about 3 hours. You're going to check on him in a little bit to baste him, and I'll show you that when the time comes. So, once again, here's a good shot of the bird. Go ahead and get a nice close-up of him. He's really pretty, nice and seasoned. You have the lemons and all the seasoning stuff on him. And you're tucking him into bed. And you're just going to sit him in the oven and forget him for a good hour or so until you check on him again. Middle rack is always preferred. Okay, now we're going to take our chicken out and we're going to baste it. It's been about time, and if you want to get a good shot of this chicken, I'm going to pull him on out. And we're going to unwrap him here. Unwrap. Watch out for the steam. Look how nice and sizzling he is getting in there. Look at all this juice. Now what you can do with this juice is you can opt to make a gravy with it, or me, I just keep basting it with the chicken. I don't make gravy at all. So you just kind of suck some of the juice up. You put it in between the legs, all over the chest. You want to get the wings really good too. You get inside the wings. And then you're just going to cover him back up and put him back to sleep for a little bit. He's still not done. When he does get done, we will take a thermometer, which is a poultry thermometer, and stick it in his thigh and make sure that the temperature is high enough. Okay, welcome back, and we are going to now check on our chicken. And you're going to see that I've taken the piece of foil that was his blanket, and I've cut it off of him because he is done. And what we're doing with our chicken is we are now having him still at 375. We've checked his temperature, and what I use is a Good Cook thermometer. You shove it into his leg where it hits the bone. You want it to hit the bone down there. And it will rise. It will rise up 160, 180. You know, it's going to get very hot. And so we have them at 180. It's very hot. And you're going to see that I took the foil off so he can get nice and crunchy and crispy. We want him to be crispy and good. So that's what he's doing. Meanwhile, we've taken some red potatoes and we've skinned up our potatoes and we've cut them into little slices. About quartered them. And you don't want them too small, but you don't want to just put the whole thing in there because it will never get down on time. We put it up to high on the red potatoes with a little pinch of salt. And then we have taken our string beans and we've turned those on high, and we're going to get them coming up to a nice good boil so they can blanch, get a little bit soft. And then we're going to take them and put them into a frying pan with some extra virgin olive oil. We're going to coat the bottom of that. And then we're going to have an onion. And we're going to take like a good about half this onion because it's not a lot of string beans. And we're going to put these onions inside here like little rings with the olive oil. Okay, what you're going to want to do is take your olive oil, drizzle this in here, and you're going to wait for the string beans to finish blanching, and then we'll have our potatoes done. Meanwhile, our chicken is getting nice and crispy, and we'll come back right again after we get done with that. Alright, we have the chicken and he is nice and golden brown. So what we're going to do is we're going to clear our oven and stop that. And we're going to take him out and we're going to place him up here, and he needs to rest for about a good 15 minutes. See how nice and golden brown he got? He got nice and crispy and good and tasty. Look at all the nice juices in there cooking. You could make a gravy with that, but I don't make gravy, but maybe on another show I will make gravy for you. So let me bring him and set him up here, and this is going to be his final resting place. We're going to take these guys and we're going to give them a quick fry in this oil with these onions. Just want to stick them all in here. Get in there. Get a little bit more of this water on out. It's nice and hot. Once it comes to a boil, you leave them in there for a good couple minutes. Gets them nice and ready to cook like this. And there you have it. So we're going to let these guys get started, and we're going to caramelize them. The onions and everything, it's going to get really nice and toasty and dark, and I'll show you what that looks like in a few minutes. You're going to add some pepper in here. Always add some pepper. I'm not a big salt fan, so you'll never see me adding salt. But you can if you want to add some salt. You can add a little pinch in there. Add a little bit of garlic. You can add a fresh clove, or you can just add some of that. And our potatoes are done, and I'll show you that when you know that they're done, you can stab them with a fork and they just, you can't even bring them on up to the surface. They just fall right apart. So they are ready to be mashed. Totally done. So I'm going to take these potatoes and just go ahead and drain them off. And then we're going to make some mashed potatoes. Alright, so now we're going to make mashed potatoes. Our key ingredient is sour cream. I usually add butter and milk, but tonight we're going to do it with some sour cream. So we have our pot of drained potatoes, which I will show you here. They're all nice and drained. And I take an egg beater, and I'm going to mash them in a second. I'm going to put in a couple spoonfuls of sour cream in there. You measure it maybe a little less than a fourth of a cup at first. You don't want to put in too much. They're nice and fluffy. They're light, they're airy, they're fluffy, they're good. Leave them up there, and then you're going to go back to your string beans. So look at how nice and dark they're getting. And how the onions are starting to caramelize. Look at them get all nice and juicy and good. Look at that. Nice and good, nice and grilled. All that olive oil with those seasonings. Get back up there, guy. No escapee is allowed. Let's start serving this stuff up. I'll show you how pretty it will look on your plate. Good scoop of fluffy sour cream potatoes. Always add the pepper. Some of your string beans and your onion rings. And for your chicken, get out a big knife. Use a fork. We'll use our potato fork. And if you want a breast, just cut it along the grain just like this. Nice in there. There you go, folks. That is a very nice, healthy, beautiful meal. Hope you like Sizzling with Lily. Thank you. We are going to start out, we have some hamburger and we're going to cook this and fry it on up. You want it nice and brown, and we're going to add some of our special seasonings, which is basically garlic powder, dehydrated onions, some chili powder, and I will show you some more of it on the website. So it's pretty tasty and good. And then we're going to be adding in a special homemade salsa. We're going to use some vinegar and some olive oil and some fresh tomatoes and fresh cilantro. And we're going to add some fire roasted green chilies into our salsa. We're going to wrap it up into a big tortilla. Ooh la la, big red tomato. So what we're going to do with this red juicy tomato is we are going to cut it up and chop it up. And we want to dice it into small pieces. Now if you have a food processor that does this, that's always welcome. But I just do it by hand, and see how I do it like this. I make it flour out and then chop it on down, and we're going to do this to 3 tomatoes. And when we finish doing this to our 3 tomatoes, we're going to add in some red onion. You're going to take your mixing bowl, and you want to add juice and all in there. You want to do this to all 3 of your tomatoes. Okay, so we're going to chop up the last plump tomato, and if you see inside the bowl, they're really juicy and they're good looking. You want to pick out tomatoes that aren't squishy, but that aren't overly firm. So when you go to the grocery store, what I want you to do is, and you might seem crazy for it, is fill your tomatoes, grope them, touch them, rub your tomatoes. You want them to be nice and juicy. See all the juice coming out of this nice tomato? Nice and juicy, ripe tomato. Next you want to take your big red onion, and you know, these are really pretty. I love red onions, and they smell and they taste really good. And they give it a nice little hint of spice to your salsa. So you want to peel your red onion. And keep the skin away from your working area if you can. I don't know why they call it a red onion. It looks purple. It's such bright and nice colors. This one's really nice. You want to get a nice red onion that doesn't have mixed beans, mold, anything growing on it. Try to pick out one nice and fresh. And that way you can have a nice, good, fresh, homemade salsa with it. And while you're doing this, because this is only maybe a 20-30 minute meal, stop for a second, and you want to mess around with your hamburger. You want to mash it down a little bit. And not mash, but really kind of chop it up into like little pieces. You don't want big chunks of hamburger in your burritos. That just won't taste very good. Flip it around, stir it, give it a good look. You know, make sure it's not burning. go back to chopping your vegetables. The magic is in the salsa. Well, if you're not going to cry while cutting your onion, which I'm about to do because it's so spicy, if you look here at how I gridded it up, I take and I chop this way, and I chop this way, and it creates a grid, and I take it and straight on down the grid, and you get nice little chunks of onions, and it makes it really easy to just scoop on up and put in your bowl. For those of you who don't have a food processor, something to chop it up. It's a really pretty red onion. I like to use the red onion. You can use any color you want. You can use white or yellow, but the red is just prettier to use with the salsa. So let's see how much this looks to make. So you're going to add your onion on in. That looks to be a perfect amount. You'll have a good ratio of onion to a good ratio of tomatoes, just like that. Let's take some of these guys up, put them in here. I'm going to go with the whole can because I made a lot of salsa tonight. So take your fork, give it a good stir around in there. Look at all those pretty colors. You got red, and you got purple and white and green. Nice mixture of colors into your salsa. It's a really nice chunky salsa to just add right to the top of your burritos. You're going to see how pretty it's going to turn out. Succulent and juicy. All the vampires on Facebook are going to hate me for this, or wherever you're watching this from tonight. Chopping up a clove of garlic, and well, you have to have your garlic, unfortunately, in your salsa. Just a little bit of garlic. You don't have to add the whole clove. Some people like a lot of garlic. There's a good tablespoon of red wine vinegar, and now add your second tablespoon. So you want to add 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. Always make sure you're looking at your meat because the stuff's cooking fast, you know. Give your meat a good flip, and in a few minutes we're going to drain this meat off too because it's almost done, and then we're going to add our seasonings and some water in there. And we're almost ready to wrap and make some burritos. And we want a tablespoon of olive oil. Now if you don't have red wine vinegar, and if you do not have olive oil, you can substitute with any type of Italian dressing. It's not as good, it's not as fresh, but you know, it works. So take your spoon, stir this nice and thick, chunky salsa around. You can make it as chunky as you want, as thin as you want. You can puree it into liquid if you want, but I like it really chunky like this. And our last secret ingredient that we are going to add tonight is cilantro. You can't have a salsa without some cilantro. So chop cilantro in there. See how much you need. You can use more, you can use less. That's science. Look at that, that's beautiful. It's a really nice, beautiful, very thick salsa. That's going to go on top of the burritos. Okay, so we drained our meat, and basically our meat has no more fat because you don't want to get all fat with your meat. So we're going to put some water inside your meat. I put about 3/4 cup of water. Kind of have it simmer. Put your seasonings in with your meat. So you're going to add your nice seasoning mixture. You're going to see that the chili powders and all that stuff, it's going to turn the meat to a nice kind of reddish orange color in here, and it's going to come to a simmer. You want to mix it around really good. And meanwhile, we've been cooking our beans. We have a little pot of beans over here, and I'm going to use these to put inside our burrito. They're nice little red beans, and we've been cooking these guys for a few minutes here. I just used them right out of the can, so it's a quicker meal. You just pop a can in there, drain them off, put a little bit of water in there, and cook them about on medium while you're doing all this, and they'll get nice and warm and hot. Okay, and this is the finale. This is a big part we've all been waiting for, and this is rolling your burrito. Now you're going to take a couple pieces of these lettuce, clip off the ends. You can use a good piece of lettuce, kind of break it on down. It makes it really nice and crunchy. And you're going to get your meat, get a nice good spoonful of meat. Probably can get another good spoonful. Alright. There we go. Make sure none of it drops. Ah, that looks good now, doesn't it? Alright. Get your beans that you've been cooking, put it on your warming center, keep them nice and warm. If you don't have a warming center, then just leave them as is. They shouldn't get too cold in the meantime. You can add a couple more beans. And then got your cheese. And if you have a rocks in your house, ladies or gentlemen, you want to add a lot of cheese. Them Roxas, they eat their cheese. To seduce the rocks, you gotta have a lot of cheese. Pow! That. Get a nice good helping of sour cream. Then you want to take this baby, you're going to roll them up to the best of your ability. Roll, 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 roll. Roll them up. There you are. Kind of shape them. Take some of your nice homemade chunky salsa. I want you to pour it right on top. Pour it right on top there. Just let it drizzle off the sides. Pour, pour, pour. You want to just fill them up with some nice salsa. You can take some chips. You can make them yourself. You can buy them at the store. Put some chips right there on the side of the plate. So you got this lovely meal. It's a big burrito. He's like 6 inches long there. What lady wouldn't want a burrito that size, you know? You can take a couple limes, put them on the side of the plate, and then look, it looks nice and pretty with your limes. It gives it all different colors and all different flavors. You have your salsa, you have your spicy, you have your hot, you have your sour, you have your chips, and so it's a big, nice combination of everything. Thank you for Lily's Sizzling for watching us, and if you want to, just go ahead and email me with any of your comments, suggestions, any type of food that you want me to cook. If you want me to cook you a special meal, just go ahead and email it to me and I'll figure out how to cook it. I'll whip up the recipe and show you what I'm doing and what I'm cooking for. So I can pretty much make anything that you throw at me. So go ahead and give me your worst. Give me some challenges here. So I hope you liked it. Thank you.